Welcome, everybody. On behalf of the American Folklore Society, we're really pleased to have you join us this evening. I'm Jessica Turner. I'm the Executive Director of AFS, and we've been working this year to plan our annual meeting in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're very excited about that, but it's also a really uncertain time. And because of that, we have been planning to have a series of events that are also virtual this summer so that we can still be together and engaged in some of the ideas and conversation and with the amazing community leaders and organizations that we have been working with as we plan this conference. So with some support from the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, the AFS Executive Board and the AFS staff, and the local committee, who is the Local Arrangements Committee chaired by Brant Ellsworth and Yvonne Millspaw. We've pulled together a series of virtual events that where we can come together, really dig into and honor the traditions and communities of the region where we plan to be in October for our annual meeting. And we wanted to do something that we could do in advance of our meeting safely in this really uncertain time, so that in Harrisburg, when we do meet in October, we can almost feel like we're reuniting with these communities and organizations, and have already gotten to know people. So we're excited that you're here with us. The series events recordings are going to be posted on our virtual event platform. So all of the participants of the AFS annual meeting, which is a large gathering of folklorists and folks who work in folk and traditional arts, museum curators, education specialists, teachers of all sorts, traditional artists, and those interested in community and traditional expression will gather to talk about our field, our profession, and how we can support each other. So we're really glad to be here for this event, especially in a time of uncertainty. And in this moment, it feels like this week, a whole lot of suffering and loss. And we're reminded of the many ways that communities are resilient and expressive in supporting each other. And that's what we're eager to highlight tonight. And so with that, we're so honored to be presenting Magnificent Healing, a readers theater with the Pennsylvania Immigrant and Refugee Women's Network. And so honored that Ms. Ho Tang has invited us into our home. If you could have been here earlier, you would have really heard a whole lot of chatter and a whole lot of food being shared, which is what we do in these communities. And so that's happening in at least one of the squares of this event tonight. But we're so honored that they are giving some of their time to us in talking about their expressive culture. And we can really learn a lot from what they have to say to us tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brant, the co-chair of the Local Arrangements Committee, to introduce the session and to introduce the facilitator tonight, Amy Skillman, who has worked with these women for a long time, and we're so glad to have her as part of this team. Thanks, Brant.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Jessica. And I'm going to just speak for a second off of my notes, because with that introduction, I just wanted to share my own personal insights here. Because I've been working with Jessica and Lorraine and with AFS for the better part of a year and a half now. And I've witnessed the amount of time I've been part of these conversations behind the scene. And I know how much they care of ensuring that this AFS meeting happens, but it happens safely. So I thank you, Jessica, for your leadership, and Lorraine for helping making all of this possible. I will echo a lot of what Jessica said. My name is Brant Ellsworth. I am the co-chair of the Local Planning Committee. And I also want to thank you all for joining us tonight. This is, I think, our fourth of 6 installments in this Here from Harrisburg summer series. As Jessica mentioned, this was made possible by a generous grant from the folks at the Pennsylvania Council of the Arts. And so if any of you are listening, thank you so much for the grant money. It has been marvelous. the idea for this series was really born out of necessity. As Jessica said, we knew that we wanted to showcase the diversity of arts in Pennsylvania. But many months ago, we were unsure at that time, given all the COVID-related restrictions, exactly what that would look like. And so this series ensures that the stories like those that are going to be shared tonight will still be heard. And this series also gives us a chance, I feel, to strengthen Pennsylvanian communities by amplifying its members' voices and providing a venue for tradition bearers to discuss their experiences and the meaning of their culture. So again, I just want to thank you all for joining us and supporting us tonight. And finally, I want to invite you all to Harrisburg. If you are able and willing, please consider coming up or coming down or coming over and joining us in Harrisburg in October. We would certainly love to see you here and would love to join with you again. As TJ sent out in an email earlier today to all the AFS registered members, the conference is being split between online content in the first half of the week and more in-person content in the second half of the week. Many of those events will be also recorded, but we would love to have you come out. So please consider it and hope to see you in October. Now, I spent all this time preparing today, and one thing that I forgot to do is prepare a long, flowery introduction to our moderator tonight, Amy Skillman. And perhaps it's because Amy Skillman needs no introduction. I think we all know Amy. And so, Amy, time is yours.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Can you all hear us? Are we coming through loud and clear? All right, good. So as Brant said, I'm Amy Skillman, and I am really excited to share this Readers Theater with all of you tonight, but especially to introduce you to some really amazing women that I've had the pleasure of working with over the last several years. I want to thank the American Folklore Society and the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, as well as the Susquehanna Folk Music Society for supporting our efforts to do this tonight. I want to just give you a brief kind of introduction about Pearwin and a little bit about what you're going to see. And then our plan is to have you go look at this video and then come back together, and then we'll have a conversation. So Magnificent Healing is, well, let me first just introduce Ho Tang Nguyen, who has hosted us here in her home, and we had an amazing meal waiting. Nelsie Acosta, Betty Itonga, and Zore Akhtar. So let me chat for a few minutes and then you all will take over. So Magnificent Healing is a project of the Pennsylvania Immigrant and Refugee Women's Network, or Pearwin, as we like to refer to it. Pearwin is a nonprofit organization created to honor and enhance the lives of newcomer women and to empower them to live to their fullest potential through things like referrals, advocacy, education, and networking. Their work is grounded in stories. And this is largely because we pioneered the story circle with them over 20 years ago as a way for women to gather monthly, to practice their English, to talk about important issues such as child rearing and education and, of course, food, and to find camaraderie and also resources across cultures. Over the years, we have worked together to create an exhibition, 2 theater pieces actually, several women's health conferences, creativity workshops, senior programs, and leadership trainings. Wow, it's an impressive list of things that you all have done. It's really great. But all kind of with the goal to amplify their voices and build self-confidence. And tonight's Readers Theater is based on this concept of the story circle. Story circles are held in women's homes and in the Pearwin office. They often have a specific theme for the month. Mothers, for instance, in May, gardens and gardening we did, food, and health, etc. You get the picture. Each time we sort of throw a topic in and the stories evolve, right? Nelsie actually now runs the story circles now. Anyway, so today's script in particular was developed from a series of interviews conducted by playwright Lori Myers, herself the daughter of refugee parents. She transposed those real stories into a script set in one of these story circles. So these are real stories, real words, exploring some of the tough issues that women have faced in working with our healthcare system. So as I said, our plan is to show you a pre-recorded video of the play, and then we'll have a short conversation amongst ourselves and then open it up for questions. But first, let me just say, so these women are not actors, although they're really good storytellers. And in some cases, they're not telling their own story, but they are telling real stories, and they have shared the experience of story circles enough over the years to know the power of narrative to heal and to enact change. So while the women in the performance have overcome many of the challenges of navigating our healthcare system, they also recognize that those challenges still exist for others. So they performed this play for medical students, for healthcare workers, and for health insurance staff in the hopes of maybe changing perspectives and influencing policy even. Wouldn't that be nice? So tonight we take you into one of their homes where you can listen in and learn about magnificent healing. So what we're going to do now is Jess is going to show you a slide where the URL is, and we invite all of you to open a new browser on your computer. Don't leave Zoom. Just open a new browser and then cut and paste the link into your new browser and go away and watch the film. It's about 35 minutes long. And then just close that browser, and that should bring you right back into Zoom, and we'll have a conversation then about and answer some of your questions. So Jessica, you want to post that slide? There you go.
We will also post it in the chat, so you can just click on it rather than try to type this. But this is the way that we can screen a film easiest without losing the audio and video quality. So here's the URL. We invite you to head on over to Vimeo and watch the 35 minutes. And we are leaving this webinar open, and we'll rejoin just afterwards. If you have any problems or questions, then come back and type it in the chat and we will help you. Are we ready to stop sharing here? And I will spotlight your living room, Ho-Tang, and we will get started again.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I hope everybody is back with us after watching that. I think we were a little bit behind the rest of you, but I have to say it was so much fun to watch it.
Yeah.
Because usually we're performing it, right? So
Yeah.
it's really fun to watch it with all of you. You know, I think there are stories of problems with interpretation, issues of privacy, you know, cultural collisions and misunderstandings and language barriers, but there's also some really great stories of courage and determination and forgiveness in particular in your stories. Is just so beautiful. I wanted to start by asking you all, what made you want to share these stories in a public way?
Can I go?
Yeah, of course you went first in the play. You should definitely go first.
So I feel when you like share your story, especially with women, with my friend, it was the third or fourth time I shared the stage together. It's gonna or it was like giving me this notion of we are all human. And it's give me like confidence that I'm not alone with this problem as an immigrant. So that's why one reason was I didn't have to like memorize the story. It was so comfortable to be on the stage and reading loud. So yeah.
So the format was maybe
No,
easier,
like a
yeah.
format, you are not like stressed out. You are gonna talk in English since your language is not English and it's like second language. Even after like I've been here for 15 years, it's still learning. I'm not perfect, I know, but I'm working so hard. Yeah, I mean, I've been working so hard to just be able to speak. And as I said in my story, just speak and tell what I wanted to the people now, my doctor, my friends, my American friends, my like other friends. So it's so like relief when you, and I heard if you know a language is like a door open to universe. So if you know more language, it seems you have more door to get to the universe. So it's so it relief. It's so I don't know how to explain it, but it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can go next. And what I wanted to say is that when I came out to speak about my story, I was looking for inner power. I wanted to validate myself from within, and it's like open up to the world and say, hey, who I am. This is who I am. I'm not changing who I am. Take me as I am. I am valuable. My experience is valid, and that is what has made me to be who I am today.
I agree with you, Soraya, Betty. Talking openly about my story give me a strength. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know when I came here, I passed all this bad experience, like being jail for no reason.
Right.
Do nothing and I'm finished in jail, or be in a situation of domestic violence. I remember I was the baby of my father. And if my sister are watching, I'm pretty sure they are, because they say that they will be connected.
Oh, cool.
They will be jealous because my daddy loved me so much. So yeah, I was the baby. So when I came here and passed this and have a man beating me and deprive me of the thing that I used to have for free, is hard. So talk about my situation is like get out of my mind, my body, my spirit, all these burdens that I was carrying, and I feel so powerful. I think that is, as you say, Betty, is so powerful. Once that we recognize what we are a beautiful human, magnificent women. And also share the story with others women. It's like give us a strength or support between us. So
So I mean, there's been this amazing process of sharing stories together with each other, and then really kind of fine tuning the stories in a way that you were able to share them publicly and share them with people that you can't even see or that you don't know. But it is. So I think that process seems like that's an important process.
Yeah, and my voice break but it's not just the sad for because sadness, or it's just because I think that it's a happiness that I feel good now. I feel good.
Good.
That's great.
How about you, Hotang? Did you
For
want to add
me,
something?
You know what? Actually, I have said thank Emmy for helping me and helping Perwin to starting our story circle, teaching me what the folklore does, because I have no idea what is the folklore, and I still don't really know for sure either. Anyway, people asking me, and I said, "Oh, yeah, they do that."
Oh, there's a new book out called What Folklorists Do. We'll have to get a copy for you.
Oh, okay.
And talk with Emmy and have a story circle with women around the world for almost 20 years. And at first, we didn't know what to say. And I remember the first one we did was Emmy asking us, what is the art in you? And all 20 women, remember that one? Say food.
That's true.
And then from there, we start to say, hey, why don't we collect the recipes?
Yeah, I remember.
And December, we had that in May, and December we have a cookbook. However, during that time, Emmy did a interview for 30-some women, and we took part of the story. Emmy brought up us a question. We gave her the recipes, and Emmy say, okay, in one paragraph, what can you tell us about why you like the recipes and why you want to make these recipes? That is the first story that we have.
Right, yeah.
And I will never forget that. And thank you, Emmy, for that.
Oh, thank you.
And,
my goodness.
And from there on, we just move on.
Yeah.
We laugh, we cry, we
eat minute rice. I love that story. I love it.
Deep rice.
The
rice you made
minute rice.
Today, that's a minute rice. But today, Jory feed us with Iranian rice, and it is so wonderful. I love it.
Yummy, yummy.
And Jory know that how I like my rice. And she just saved that piece for me on the bottom of the pot.
El cucayo con.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. So, so one other question, and then let's open it up to questions from the audience. But so we've performed this play over the years to a number of audiences, many of them in the medical field and healthcare system. And you've talked a lot about how this process has influenced you personally. Have you seen a change in the way newcomers are treated? Do you think that the play is having an impact in any way?
I remember we did the play at Hershey Medical Center for the medical student, and that was helping, because I am advocating for the Title VI. That's a 1968, that the language barrier for the people. And many organizations did not believe in that or did not follow that. And I have to educate them about, if you receive the federal fund, that you obligated to give the people with limited English with interpretation or brochure already translated to their own language, and it's working. But still we have a long way to go yet, because a lot of time maybe some of us go into the doctor and they just they don't have enough time for us. We want to say a lot. We want to ask lots of questions, but they don't have enough time, and we speak broken English, and sometimes it's harder. Or we use the interpreter to helping us. It's just like rush. It's not like take time to helping us. But it's yet improved. But we still need to work on a lot, and we still need to advocating for the people with limited English.
I I agree with you.
Yeah. Any others?
Yes, yeah. For me, having entered the medical field to work there, I'm having those opportunities, even if it's like at the staff room where we talk with other nurses, and I make them aware that something could be different. And one of the things that I'm starting to find myself doing right now is that not to tell them the things we do as wrong, but to inform them that this exists. Because when I first spoke about the female circumcision, I attacked it as wrong. But then with time, I have come to look at it like it gave me several years where I hated my mother. But now, looking at it from after all those years, I would like to first understand them. So if you find somebody who has a practice that you have never been exposed to before, never heard of, that sounds bizarre, don't dismiss them first. Find out why they do it.
Oh, that's a good
And then reach them from their place, the point where they are, why they do it. That has more results than first critiquing them. Because just like the way when you have a little child, if they do something bad and the first thing you do is critique, you're not likely to what is the word? What's the English word? You're not going to be able to reach out to them and change that behavior. But if you first find out why they did it and then go to their level and then work it out from there and teach it, that's more effective, and it lasts longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, so I think if I was to travel and do, which is one of my desires at my once my children are a little older, is to do a lot of advocacy in their communities, in the roots. And I want to go this time with an open mind. Why do we do some things? I don't want to go there as this very educated American born, I want to reach there and be at their level to first understand, why do you do this? Get
Going to
inside
the culture.
them. Yes.
What they do
Yes.
as a culture. And
That is what deep in my heart I would love
very
to.
beautiful.
I would love
Yeah.
to do, yes.
Yeah. So you work in the healthcare system, and Zora, you work in the healthcare system too. What are your thoughts about? Have things changed? Are they?
Unfortunately not. I've been working at few hospitals for 10 years as a newborn hearing screener. We don't talk to doctors and nurses, but we work on one floor. We are like colleague, but our job is like different. But it's sometimes it's just frustrating when people just trying to avoid you. Sometimes I think because they feel I'm like different from them, or I have a heavy accent, as you see. Some of them don't like heavy accent. You can't believe, I mean, it's hard to believe even for myself. In the past 10 years, there are few professional, because nurses and the staff are professional, right? They don't call you by your name. They just like follow you because they wanted to avoid calling you, and just like
Really?
do like that and just avoid to talk to you. This is like exhausting sometimes, and sometimes I feel like I just wanted to survive in this like environment. So I don't want to feel like that, because it's like affect your mind and your like not physically but mentally it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like, how can I live the rest of my life? I'm not gonna work for rest of my life at hospital, but I'm gonna live here. And sometimes you cannot change people's mind. This is what I don't blame them. This is, I don't know. It's like, this is what it is. but yeah, it's like exhausting sometimes
Yeah.
for me to like as a healthcare worker to like survive.
Yeah. So there's still a long ways to go.
Yeah, I
to-
guess.
To impact
Yeah.
change.
Mhm.
Our work is not done, right? So.
But it's in
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah, you
It
see
is.
progress.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
do. I
Mhm.
do. And I say that because my previous job, I was working in this clinic that is in the an area of low incomes, community of low incomes, a lot of immigrants, and the doctors and the nurses in that clinic lead on people like me and the other who speak Spanish, because the majority of the patients are
Mhm.
were Spanish, and
Yeah.
they try and they don't speak English at all.
Mhm.
So when they come for help, they bring all this knowledge and words in Spanish and translate in English is what it is. I don't understand. She touch here. She touch, is the kidney, the liver, el hígado, ¿cuál es el hígado? O ¿cuál es el riñón? Or see, and then so I think that is for a lot of our low income and immigrants, it have been improved, and so they can the
Yeah.
doctors and nurses have more opportunity to help them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should open it up to, are there questions or comments from the audience? Do you all want to, should we make everybody a panelist, TJ, and see if people have questions?
We're prepared
For
to do
this-
that, and we'll do that now. And if there are folks who want to keep their cameras off, feel free. But we want to bring everybody in here so we can chat together.
Yeah, great.
Get myself comfortable.
So I'm going to switch our view to. Oh, oh.
My clicks have to get caught up.
Yeah, right. Great.
Oh
Got-
wow.
Got just about everybody getting closer.
There's Pam Dash
Yeah, that's Pam. That looked great.
and Laura.
She's my professor. Was my professor.
Oh,
There.
Mm.
Yvonne.
Yvonne Nussbaum.
Hi, Yvonne. Nice to see you.
To see you too.
Oh,
You
John,
right.
the pastor's out there. Oh,
Yes.
good. Wow.
Zora's rice is magnificent. I tested it.
Yeah. Lisa Assman.
Lisa Rachi there too.
Yeah, and Lisa
Yeah.
Rachi, yeah.
Wow.
And Kelly Armour. Oh my goodness. Hi,
Look at-
Kelly.
Look at Miss Marilyn White. Look at the cat.
The cat, right? Hi, Marilyn. Yay.
Pastor Jody is there.
Yeah. Hi, Jody.
Hi, Pastor Jody.
Oh, that's Jody Selica.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Wonderful.
Okay, so everyone who wants to be in is now in. So
Okay.
there's your panel.
Okay. Great. So what questions do you all have
Mine
or
is
comments do you have?
Mike's
She just said hi. Marilyn.
very
Any?
white.
Actually, if I could ask a question, I was writing notes as I was watching the film and listening to the discussion, and at the beginning of the film, you talked about we are more. And several of you talked about, we are not alone, and recognize our humanity, our courage, our determination. And you also talked about forgiveness, but
Mhm.
based on some of the comments, especially for those of you who are working in the healthcare systems, that's still a huge issue that people are not recognizing the humanity of people who might be of what's been referred to as limited English proficiency, people from other cultures with other ways of thinking of doing. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Anybody?
You want to reward?
Well, I think, Marilyn, can you kind of put that into one sentence question?
I don't, well, one of the I tend to do context. What might need to be done to get the healthcare community to better serve limited English proficiency individuals or people from other cultures with other ways of thinking about healthcare?
I think that's a great idea, to if we can do it. I have been trying to educate the service provider on different level, and it's still they're just talking about the diversity and all the organization, the hospital, the company we're going in. Yes, we do have the diversity inclusion in there, but actually it's just only the top of the surface. Nobody want to pay anybody to go in to do the deep down in there. Even the company, they have many immigrant and refugee people working in there, and a lot of them cannot even speak English. And that's the work that we have to continue to do that. I don't know which way we can do it and how do we do it better, but we only advocate and we asking them, we telling them, even, the hospital, the school. Actually, Penguin right now have a program with school to do with the immigrant and refugee student, helping them. And that's been going on, and this will be the second years when the coming years. But still, we need a lot of work yet. We need a lot to educate, to advocate, to have our voice out there, and to let them know that you have diversity program or department or inclusion in there. But actually, when I talk to them, they know nothing. They just want to do that because
You want to check the box.
check the box. Yes, just check the box. We just a token for them.
Well, I think that you bring up a really good point to Marilyn's comment about really understanding how healing is understood, and how people think about health and healing, varies from culture to culture and around the world. And you can't just say, okay, we've hired a diverse staff and therefore we can check that box, right? Yeah.
And I wanted to share some very powerful experience that I had recently with a young mother from Kenya, and we took her baby to the Hamilton Health Center, and the doctor who came to see the baby was being introduced to food. That's the weaning, and was having difficulty or lack of interest in eating at all. Like the baby would stay a whole day without any much intake. So the doctor asked us, what do you do in your culture? What kinds of food do you feed the baby? What do you do when you don't eat? And that question took me aback, and actually she didn't realize how much energy that put me, because now it's sort of like she gave us the power to own the problem and come up with the solution, because the doctor could give us a long list of things that probably has been taught can be done, but the setting in our home, none of that may work. So she wanted to know, how do you prepare food for children you're weaning? And how do you feed them? Because we don't sit our children on a high chair. Most of the time we'll be holding them, or we let them play and we just follow them. Now, depending on what you're feeding the child, it may not work. So I was so impressed, and until today, I still think about that question, like, what do you prepare and how do you feed them and for how long do you feed them? So I thought that was a very powerful moment too.
Yeah, there's somebody that gets it, right? There's somebody that gets it. Yeah, the doctor that
Yes.
asked the question. That's
Yes.
great. Yeah. Yvonne, or
Yes.
no? Yeah, Yvonne.
That's me. That's me. I really enjoyed this talk, and I really enjoyed the play you put together. I'm wondering if you think one of the solutions to working with, say, physicians and other medical personnel, I think would be to make everybody take a folklore class. And hopefully, and I see a lot of hands going up too, because that's one of the things we try to do very hard, is to make people aware of and kind of sympathetic to other ways of looking at the world and other ways of looking at disease and child rearing and caring and what have you. So I know Hershey Medical Center did this about 1,000 years ago with Dave Hufford as an actual faculty member. But after Dave left, I don't believe anybody took over that particular position. So I would like to ask you ladies, if you want to go advocate for having folklore as part of a curriculum for medical school. So I'm going to stop talking. All of us on this panel up here would appreciate that, I think.
Yeah, that's great. And we do have a question in the Q&A from somebody we know, Yorimar Marquez. Are there any plans to show the healing play to hospitals in the coming months?
Oh, very interesting.
Well, Yoli, let's work on that.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We know Yoli because she's also a member of Perwin. She says,
Mark, we did that. We did this play at the Blue Shield already. When we had the exhibit in there.
I think that was quite a few years
That's
ago.
almost 20 years ago.
No,
Well,
Blue
16
Shield,
years ago.
yeah, maybe
16 years ago.
2013 was when we did it at Blue Shield, I think.
But yeah, we would like to have this place going around. And if any of you around the country want to have the place to your community, your hospital, your school, your university, please let us know. The more people know about this place, the better. That's the only way I think is people can hear our story and hear the struggle and survival that we did to appreciate it, and maybe another way that we can help to educate the public. Thank you.
Any other, we have a few more minutes. Any other comments or thoughts?
I
Kelly.
see Kelly. Are you going to ask the question you put in the chat, Kelly?
Sure. So,
okay, great.
In my working with all sorts of new Americans in Erie, I see that, and one of the stories so eloquently, the very first story so eloquently said how hard it is when you've got somebody translating for you with your doctor, because it, but even when you have that, it seems like in Erie, so many of the translators I've spoken to, they follow this very strict protocol where they can only translate. They can't interpret. They can't, and I understand that they need to take their own personal beliefs and thoughts and leave that out of the negotiation. But even so, there really aren't. They're like, no. Even if I can see that the patient and the doctor are not understanding each other, it's not my job to fix it. I can't go there. I only translate. I don't do any interpretation. But yet, many of these translators are bicultural, and they can help really mediate so that there can be understanding, but yet it's part of their protocol not to do this. And how do you feel about this?
I do interpretation for the hospital and the court and whatever people needed. And sometimes I got stuck with those to educate the doctor or whoever, the provider. I have to tell them that I have to take myself off of the interpreter, and may I give you this information. This is the culture that we have. That's how I educate them, and I don't take the word out from the patient or from the people that I'm helping to, but I'm educate the provider. But before I do that, I have to ask them permission. Can I do that? Because that's the only way for me to help to educate them, to know the culture. And then after they understood, we go back to the regular way. That how do we do the interpretation?
And do you
So
also
there are
tell
ways
the
around it.
patients about the same, like this is the culture of the medical system as well? Do you
We
also
do,
it?
I do explain to the patient too, to let them know, and especially in Erie, you have a large immigrant community there. A
Yes, we
large
do.
immigrant community.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot.
But when I did the interpreter training, that's one of the things that I forgot the word. The instructor told us that we can do that. Yes, we can.
You can.
Yes.
So you can actually say, I'm going to stop
I'm stop out.
translating,
Yes.
and I'm going to now step in and explain something.
Right.
Interesting.
Interesting. That's really good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow. Any other comments or thoughts? Are there any questions in the chat that I haven't been following, that you, Jessica or TJ, you've been following that we need to address? Or just unmute yourselves and ask away. No other comments? No questions? All right. Well,
it's so nice to see many of you that I know. Oh my gosh.
Hi,
Mai.
Mai's there.
Mai is there.
And hi, Norma.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
That's
Who else
wonderful.
and I saw Amanda was here. Oh yeah. I'm not used to seeing Amanda Zeitlin. That's just kind of threw me for a minute, you know.
Well, I hope to see all of you maybe in October.
And Pansy. Oh yes. So actually, I was going to say that if we do have a session at AFS on Friday morning at 10:30. Kelly is on that panel, and we'll be talking about different ways that and I think Cecilia Ottenweller from who's done some really interesting work in Texas, looking at narrative in the Black community among young women, but new mothers. Anyway, we're going to have a panel on Friday morning, and I'm hoping all of you will be there, but we need to figure out who's going to be there to just talk about the use of narrative in addressing some of these questions, and what are some models that are out there and other ways that people are doing it. So hopefully if you're coming to AFS, you'll be able to join us. So
And
I'd like
that's
to.
the power brings.
If Jessica and Brant and I can cash in our rain check for the meal that we missed prior to this, that would be
Sure. Yeah,
Include me in that, guys.
yeah. We had, I don't know if you all heard, we had Iranian rice, and we had Vietnamese noodles, lo mein noodles, and we had, and then I did a fruits with Thai basil. And what was you brought another thing that was that
The sour
Torshi. It's called torshi.
torshi. Okay, yeah, it was
Very good.
very
It's
good.
vegetables with vinegar and like the spice.
Yeah.
When we finish this one, we go back out there and eat
Have
whatever
round
we
two,
end.
so.
And hope to see many of you in October. And hopefully maybe you can get together to do a meal. I don't know. Working on it.
I want to thank all of you for
Thanks, Sandy, for joining. Pam, I see you're there. So I kind of feel like on Romper Room, and there's Pammy,
There's
and
Norma
there's
right there. I don't know her.
Laura,
We haven't
and
met her
so-
before, Norma.
Yeah, Norma.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norma's current president. Well, Norma in Maryland,
I just want to say
outgoing and
thank
incoming
you.
president.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
What were you gonna
thank
say,
you,
Norma?
Thank you. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias, gracias, gracias.
Beautiful.
All right.
Well, we appreciate
That was
everyone
great.
joining with us. We can stop recording now, TJ, and we do. I mean, this was lovely, so wonderful.